Guys, I've been getting a lot of requests on how to cut out your subject to place them into the Seeing Santa background. So I'm just going to do a really rough sketch. I took a picture of my daughter. Do not, she dressed herself. Ignore the background. We were bringing Halloween stuff in and Thanksgiving stuff in, and this is actually like kind of like our mudroom. And so I'm just going to show you pretty much a rough version of how exactly to get your subject into this digital background. So what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to straighten that chair because it's driving me crazy. And yes, that is a really old and ugly chair, but I do love it. So, and then I'm going to come up here to my selection tool, but I'm going to click select subject. It doesn't always do perfect, but it gets pretty close. And then all you have to do is, add stuff in. Get this purple out. Perry. And you'll want to kind of take your time with this. I'm going to not be as in-depth maybe as you should be, because I just want to show you how to get this in here. So I've pretty much, her hair's getting long, so I've pretty much got the outline. I also want the chair. I did this backdrop for Christmas pictures last year, and I wasn't quite expecting people, also wanting it, so it's exciting. And it is super easy. It just takes, a little bit of time to do all of the editing and work and whatnot, but it's totally cute and worth it. So I think I've got this pretty much of the dancing ants around her in the chair, so I'm going to click select and mask, and I'm in the Photoshop CC version. I do the monthly subscription, and I find that it's, a lot easier to work with because you get all of the wonderful new updates. And I'm not sponsored by Adobe, but it is my favorite. Okay, so I'm going to smooth it, and I'm going to set my smart radius at 1 pixel, and I think that looks pretty decent. So I'm going to just click selection. I'm going to just click a random layer, and it's going to set my mask out. Actually, I do that for editing. Let's go ahead and select and mask and do new layer with layer mask. If it'll stop being slow. Well, I don't know what's the problem. That group was creating an issue. So now I'm just going to use my transform tool, and I'm just going to drop it into our Santa picture. And you'll notice that the colors are really off, and the chair would obviously be below the window, she's too bright for the image. So these are all things that we can really work with. But you just gotta figure out where you want her. I kind of wanted her looking at Santa, not really staring at the tree, but for all intended purposes, this picture is not going to be absolutely perfect. So we are going to, I guess, have her staring at the tree. So the first thing that we need to do is I'm going to go ahead and do my editing like I normally would. I want to go ahead and touch up, her. Obviously, you can either do that before you decide to cut, your subject out. I just am going to go ahead and do it while she's here. And you can see there is a little bit of issues whenever you're I'm at 66% zoomed in. If you're just doing these for cards and whatnot, they're not going to see that. Let me see. So I want to go ahead and do her skin. I am going to leave this as is, and I'm just going to do maybe natural skin smoother. And we have and it went automatically to my background layer. So I'm going to unlock my layer. I'm going to select that again, natural skin smoother again, and it's going to work from here. And you're just going to hit continue every time. And this is from the advanced retouch actions. Hit continue, continue. Alright, and if there's any left out because we had to, it wasn't with the background, we are going to move them in. So now you're just going to want to, excuse me. Okay, so now with my brush set to 100, I'm going to just paint with a soft white brush on here, on her skin. And it's just a slight and you're going to want to delete these. Oops. Is the gate closed? Is the door closed? Hi, Daddy. Don't close the door. Close the door, Mary. Because it copied the layer mask and everything. So now it's just got a slight blur. So, Chloe, help her while I'm working on this. And we are just going to do a little bit of like a foundation. We're going to pick somewhere in between, double click your box. And my brush is set to 100, but this will just even her skin tones out. Perry, we don't say that. Did you shut the bathroom door?
No.
Well, you need to.
Oh, I did there.
Honey, please.
Where's my daddy?
Daddy went to go get some dinner.
Let me. I want that dinner.
So that just evens out, excuse my children. So that just evens out the skin tones. And then we want to, come on. Her eye whites are a little bit blue, so we're going to go ahead and whiten her eye whites. Although nobody's really going to look that hard at your image. It's just my own personal preference. And it did brighten it a bit, so I'm just going to turn it down to about 30. I am also going to add a natural lip color, and you can tone it down. I'm also going to put some on her cheeks. With rosy cheeks. I am also going to we are going to highlight. So I'm going to stop, and with my lasso tool I'm going to shift and hold the areas that would be naturally lighter in the image to kind of contour and kind of hike up the highlights here, anywhere where light would naturally hit. Now you don't have to go into a deep editing like this. You can turn your feathering up so that it's not as intense. That looks good. I'm guessing it's not finishing out because of we're actually going to back because it closed my image and I need this layer. So what we're going to do is after we fix the colors of her, then we'll go in with the highlight. So coming over here, I'm going to select my curves, and I'm going to use this, and I just want to kind of match the image. I'm going to create a clipping mask just to this layer. I want it to match. And it just turned the brightness down a little bit. I do also want to go into the reds, and I want her a little warmer. In the greens, I want to tone down just a little. I think that looks good. She just needs to be a little bit darker, so I'm going to create a new curves, a new create clipping mask. I think that matches the colors and everything of the image. She's a little bit darker, and if you want her to have more of a spotlight on her, you can definitely do that. So what we are going to do now, so now she's looking at her tree. Now we can flatten the image because the tones match. So I'm going to now go back in and I'm going to do our highlighting. And remember to stop, use your lasso tool, and then pick all the areas that would naturally have light hitting. So right here. Oops. And if you don't need to see any of this, dang it. Let's focus on her face first. Because now I'm kind of rushing and I'm making mistakes. And it's okay if you make mistakes, because as long as you fix them, that's the fun of Photoshop. So now I'm going to hit the highlight tool. And again, remember to do our feathering. It did save it from before, so okay. Make sure you turn your background layer back on. I think it's having an issue with the background because we unlocked it before, so there was actually no true background layer. So now we have the highlight on the face. I'm going to click it. Well, actually, I'm going to select the spots that I want highlighted. And then I'm going to click it again. All you have to do is hold Alt and drag up that layer mask on top of it, and then you have the nice highlight. And she's got a nice little contour to her. I do feel like she needs to have a little bit more of, contrast and a little bit more of a spotlight on her. So I'm going to go ahead and flatten with the retouch. I am going to, I'm going to go to my exposure, and then I'm going to turn the gamma down a little bit, and then I'm going to take a nice soft black brush at about 80%, and I'm just going to, we have the glow of the tree coming, and since she's in front of the tree, we're going to kind of get this little glow going. And we have also the moon coming in, so that's a nice little glow factor there. And I am going to take a snapshot just in case I want to come back from here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can find what I want. I do like the contrast. I might turn it down just a little bit. It is a cold image, so I'm going to run blues first and see if I like them. Okay, we're going to do blues. And that's a little bit intense. This is in the matte attack. You can turn it down. It's at 100%. So you can turn it down to your liking. You can also paint it off of your subject. I think it's a little bit too blue, so we're going to try a different one. Let's try greens. And that's just way too much green. So plums. That's really cute. I'm going to turn down our plums here, because I think it's a little too strong. I think that's cute. I'm also going to turn down our plum vignette. So now I'll show you. So this was our first snapshot, and that was cute. And now this is with our little plums. It just adds a little bit more of a creative flair to it. I am going to, let's see here. Go ahead and flatten. You don't have to, but I'm going to. I'm going to do a light brush on. I'm just going to, we're going to do a lighter color. And I am at 80%, and we can turn that down because it doesn't need to be so bright. And I'm gonna just paint it off of her just a little bit, so at 40%, painting it off. And then I'm also going to do Vibrant Painterly. It'll just kind of soften the shot. It'll kind of bring it all together. And I'm going to turn that down. I'm not sure if I like it on this. I'm not going to use that on this. But I am going to see how this, this is my absolute favorite action. So I'm going to see how it looks on it. And it darkened it up quite a bit. So what we do is under exposure fix. Okay, so we need to take a step back. We're going to hit Control J, make a copy of our layer. We're going to click my favorite film. And since I do not want this much matte right now, I'm going to go to filter and then our camera raw filter. And I am going to go to my curves. And I'm just going to pull it over slightly because I don't want I'm just going to turn down. And I think it just gives, you know, the picture more of a creative stark contrast. Again, it's personal preference. You can do whatever you like. The whole purpose of this video was to show you how to cut your client out and put it in and kind of fix the tones. I went a little bit overboard and was color correcting and adding moonlight, and there's just so many ways that you can go with this. So it's really nice to have, and it makes for a really cute Christmas card that you can use. So the only thing left I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to turn the gamma down, and with a soft black brush I'm at 40%. I'm just going to kind of paint off of our tree and our subject, and then I'm going to turn that layer down just a little bit because it is nighttime, so we want it to be painting a little more off. And I think that's cute, so hopefully this will help you with cutting your subject out and giving you an idea of how to match the colors to your images. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. And if you would like to get this digital background, I do have it on my website at ellisPhotoshopActions.com. So check that out.